In the wake of the Russian invasion, a huge number of celebrities and important organizations have stepped out to show their support for Ukraine. Being the #1 motorsport in the world, Formula One isn't one to lag behind. The FIA organized its drivers to send out a message to show solidarity with Ukraine. Keep watching to find out what the top drivers in Formula One have to say about this war. In a strong message of support for the people of Ukraine following Russia's invasion, Formula One drivers gathered to take a picture on the eve of pre-season testing in Bahrain. The drivers stood up in 2 rows, wearing shirts with the slogan, "No War," and a banner with the same message was displayed on the track in front of them, behind a Ukraine flag. Lewis Hamilton, the 7-time world champion, was noticeably absent. Fans were first puzzled as to why the Mercedes driver was absent from the shoot. He is the type who has rarely shied away from speaking about societal issues in the past, so a lot of us were worried about his silence. In one of his recent Instagram stories, the Mercedes driver cleared the air and explained why he was unable to join his fellow drivers. "It's great to see our sport coming together in this way," he added, sharing a photo of the drivers. "Sorry to have missed it. My flight was delayed." Hamilton has regularly posted on social media since Russia's invasion of Ukraine, once commenting, "My heart is with the courageous people of Ukraine, who are standing firmly with their values of freedom and peace. I'm certain I'm not alone in feeling our day-to-day feels heavier and sometimes trivial, knowing this crisis is happening in our world. The united stance comes as Russia continues to attack Ukraine, which began late last month with an invasion. The FIA voted to allow Russian and Belarusian drivers to race under a neutral flag. However, Haas F1's contract with Russian driver Nikita Mazepin and title sponsor Uralkali was cancelled just days later. Starting this season, the team stated that Kevin Magnussen would fill the empty position. The title sponsor of the American Formula One team is Uralkali, which is owned by Russian tycoon Dmitry Mazepin, who is known to be a close ally of Putin. The Haas F1 team posted a photo of their car in the paint scheme on Twitter. Kevin Magnussen, the new Haas driver, was also not present as he had not yet been announced. In addition to Team Haas's removal of the Uralkali emblem, Formula One has opted to cancel the Russian Grand Prix due to the current tensions. F1 said in a statement that it is monitoring the developments in Ukraine with regret and concern, and that it hopes for a quick and peaceful conclusion. After a preseason test in Barcelona, Lewis Hamilton sent an emotional statement expressing his disapproval of Russia's ongoing invasion of Ukraine. The 7-time Formula One world champion has joined a slew of other high-profile athletes in speaking out against the crisis, which has captivated the world's attention since it erupted in the past few weeks. This comes just after Lewis Hamilton announced that he will continue with Mercedes for the 2022 Formula One season. Rumors about his retirement were flying around the internet. After a controversial title loss to Max Verstappen in 2021, Lewis Hamilton insists that retirement was never an option. While comfortably leading Verstappen late in the Abu Dhabi Grand Prix, the Briton appeared to be on his way to a record 8th World Championship before an accident involving Williams' Nicholas Latifi flipped the race on its head. In a post-race interview after the loss, he told 2009 world champion Jenson Button, quote, "We'll see about next year," before taking a long break from social media. Many speculated that he would retire, but he returned early last month and stated during the unveiling of the W13 in February that he had no intention of leaving the best motorsport. We all know how much Lewis loves Formula One. Well, the truth is that he never actually stated that he would stop racing. Being on the track is like being at home to Lewis, and he obviously has a mission going into the 2022 season. It seems the time he took away helped him recover from the painful shock of the loss. "It was obviously a difficult time for me," he said, "and it was a time where I really needed to take a step back, focus on being present, so I had my family all around me and creating great moments." Late in February, Russian troops invaded Ukraine by land, air, and sea, after President Vladimir Putin gave the go-ahead for a full-scale military action. Several world leaders have criticized Putin's behavior, accusing him of violating international law, and they've begun to impose harsh sanctions on Russia. The sporting world has rallied around Ukraine, with Hamilton posting a statement on Instagram expressing his sympathy for those caught up in the invasion. The 37-year-old also expressed his respect for Russian citizens who have put their lives on the line to protest their country's hostile actions across the country. "When we see injustice, it's important that we stand against it," Hamilton wrote. Max Verstappen also used social media to express himself. In his tweet, the Dutchman takes a stance against war, saying, "Please, no war." His colleagues are also heavily tweeting on the conflict in Ukraine. The FIA appears to have reached an agreement with all drivers, as the tweets all surfaced on social media at the same moment. The campaign for an F1 boycott of the Russian Grand Prix was also partly led by Max Verstappen. The world champion claims that the race in September will be cancelled due to the invasion of Ukraine. Both Sebastian Vettel and Max Verstappen have pushed for the scrapping of the Russian Grand Prix. "It's not right to race in a country that is at war," he argued. Sebastian Vettel, the four-time world champion, has declared that he will not compete in Sochi. The German said, "It's horrible to see what's happening. We have a race scheduled in Russia. I will not go. It's wrong to race in that country." As he so often has been on social media and humanitarian issues, Sebastian Vettel was once again ahead of the curve when it came to Formula One's response to Russia's invasion of Ukraine. He was the first to speak out, declaring his refusal to race in Sochi just hours after the war began. He became one of the first high-profile athletes in the world to publicly condemn Russia's activities as a result of his efforts. While the sporting world cannot stop the tragedy in Ukraine, it may help put pressure on the invaders. As a result, Vettel's rapid and firm stance on the issue was widely praised, as were Formula One's officials' quick announcement that the Russian Grand Prix would not be held. We're still watching the events in Ukraine with grief and shock, hoping for a quick and peaceful conclusion to the crisis. Other drivers on the track have spoken out about the invasion, but none have done so with the same clarity and strength as the Aston Martin driver. But Vettel believes that it does not matter that all his peers have shown such strong views in public, as the important thing right now is bringing the bloodshed to a swift end. Meanwhile, the organizers of the Russian Grand Prix have responded to the FIA's cancellation of the event. Alexei Titov, the chief of Russian Grand Prix promoter Rostryanki, has taken aim at Formula One, threatening to take legal action if the organization's contract is not renewed. In response to Russia's war in Ukraine, Formula One dropped the Russian Grand Prix off the calendar indefinitely. F1's decision to deny Sochi the opportunity to host a race weekend for the foreseeable future has startled Titov. Titov has accused the organization of making a unilateral decision to permanently exclude the Russian GP after initially agreeing to cancel this year's race. He told Match TV, "I can't speak of the details yet because we are still continuing the proceedings, and it would not be correct to disclose the details now." Titov also claimed that Formula One management, FOM, now owes the promoter money because they have already partially paid the 2022 hosting fee. Russia is reported to pay Formula One management about 38 million euros or $50 million per season, making it one of the most expensive racing weekends in the world. Lewis Hamilton has won the Russian Grand Prix a record 5 times, with Mercedes triumphing in the last 8 seasons. So F1's decision to drop Sochi from the calendar could play into Max Verstappen and Red Bull's favor. It would be interesting to see how their battle plays out this year. Meanwhile, all of our thoughts and support go out to the innocent victims of the war going on in Ukraine.